So for today, we're going to talk about suicide. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death worldwide. In this globalization era, our world is now facing a lot of advancement for all different types of sectors, such as developments, economics, and technologies. While every country in this world is busy competing between each other to be called as developed country, they didn't realize one of the biggest issues that are happening in the society, which is suicide, is happening worldwide. The word suicide is come from the Latin word suicidium, which means the act of taking one's own life. Roughly, the definition of suicide is described as self-inflicted death with the intent to die. There are several points of view on suicide. For example, Abrahamic religion historically regards suicide as an offense against God due to the belief in the sanctity of life. While during the samurai period in Japan, suicide known as samurai suicide was respected as a way of making amends for failure or as a form of protest. Suicide rate in the most of the developed countries are worrying. But believe it or not, it is sad for us to see that the news of the suicide cases is not more than just merely news. Most of the governments are taking these issues as light as a feather, while these issues are solidly alarming.
According to statistics, every country faces suicide cases. We take 4 countries as an example: South Korea, Japan, America, and Malaysia. Since 1990s to 2017, all 4 countries face an increase in numbers of suicide attempts. South Korea happens to be the leading with the highest number of suicide attempts. Staggering rise of the graph can be observed until 2011 as the numbers begin to decrease there. This may be due to the implementation of suicide prevention in 2011, suicide care. Japan, being behind of South Korea, faces a high number of suicides as well. In 1998, there was a rise and finally dropped in 2011, which took more than 1 decade for the graph to drop. There were efforts done by the community to reduce the rise of suicides. There was many efforts done by the community, NGO, and government to reduce the scale. Those investment in suicides prevention on national scale seems to be paying off, as by 2012, the numbers of suicides in Japan began to fall down for the first time since 1998. The United States of America's suicide rate has maintained for the past 2 decades to be below 20,000 deaths. They were able to maintain this rate. This because the earliest recorded suicide prevention clinic was dated way back in 1958 in Los Angeles, California, with the founding from the US Public Health Service. During the mid-90s, suicide became the main issue. Citizens became campaigned for more effort from the government. Early prevention has reduced the number of suicides, making America's graph to be relatively constant with slight changes from years to years. Malaysia has the smallest amount of population compared to the other countries, but to put in consideration, as the total number of suicides nearly exceeded the total of 100,000 is considered high, as the total population of Malaysia is 18.3 million back in 1990. As there was a slight increasement in 2014 and so on, the Health Ministry has made the needed facility available, such as screening services and treatment for people with mental health issues at 60 government hospitals and 1,001 health clinics, where the health service is at the primary level, and 25 community mental health centers.
There are tons of circumstances that lead one to end their life through suicide. Here are some of the major ones. The first one is mental health illness, specifically depression. A depressed person is continuously feeling sad or fed up with his or her life, resulted from various of upsetting events. Those who experience this may show diverse of symptoms ranging from minor to severe, and most of them took a way out of the misery through committing suicide, either by hanging themselves or cutting their wrist. Next, number 2 is financial issue. So as we all know, accumulated debts, chasing loan sharks, skyrocketing loan interest, loss in gambling or trading, being scammed or losing jobs are some of the financial related problems that might be the main reason on most people who committed suicide. The third one is failure in studies. Students who spend days and nights of studying but eventually fail to achieve the expected result from their family will tend to jump off bridges, cut their wrist, hang themselves, as the expectations left them pressured in despair. Hundreds of high school students who failed their college entrance exam, or mostly known as Sunyung or CSAT or SPM, are reported yearly jumping off bridges and committing suicide through other means. Fourth is relationship problem. Housewives who face domestic violence, abused children, LGBTQ minorities, bullied students, and child marriage victims, young girls with premature pregnancy, and many more are some of the potential parties who will commit suicide on account of failing to handle their feelings and relationship with people around them. And the last one is physical health problem. Patients who were diagnosed with severe medical problem were prone to opt for suicide as their best way out, as they can't endure the pressure and pain they are facing.
The first effect of suicide on society is blaming issue. Blaming may occur verbally as they keep on blaming society for the loss of their loved one. On 17 April this year, an influencer Yang Baobei YBB attempted suicide. She was said to be involved in scam. Netizens blame YBB's friend for not speaking up about the truth. However, Agnes stated it is better to solve the problem instead of talking about the issue, as writing 1,000 words on social media could not help YBB during her tough situation. The second effect of suicide on society is copycat suicide. Usually, many influencers or K-popers who commit suicide will go viral on social media. This can influence the society to commit suicide. For example, on December 3, 2019, Cha In-ha, an unknown actor, was reported dead. He is not the only star that commits suicide, but there were also former of girl bands which is Suli and Gohara who involved in suicide as well. Next, the effect of suicide on family is co-occurrence of grief and health reaction. For example, guilt, blame, shame, sadness, and relief are all the immediate grief reaction experienced by individual. Furthermore, the second effect of suicide on family is increasing burden and losing support system. The loss of partner leads to the loss of instrumental support, social support, and also social contact support. Finally, the effect of suicides on law. Those who attempt suicide can be considered as irrational and must seek psychiatrists. In order to defend himself, a survivor of a suicide pact must show that there was an agreement that both of them should die, and that when he attempted the action, he himself was expected to die since he had intentionally caused the death of another person and he is guilty.
Every problem must have a solution. So I will talk about these 4 countries overcome the suicide case. First, I will talk about Malaysia. The Malaysian government has launched a 5-year National Suicide Prevention Strategy Action Plan, which began in 2012. One of the main efforts in this plan is to change mental health care from hospital to community mental health center to improve availability to the public. Non-specialist health providers are being used to provide further assistance to suicidal individuals through internet and telephone counseling service such as the Befrienders. This plan has been successfully implemented and has been proven in the 6 years between 2014 to 2019, when the number of encounters almost doubled. Tan Sri Lee Lam Thai, which is the Befrienders Kuala Lumpur patron, encouraged the Education Ministry to look at incorporating mental health topics into the curriculum, such as developing endurance, stress control, and problem-solving skills. This is one of the important solutions because half of the mental disorder start from the age of 14 and 3/4. During the pandemic COVID-19, the government has developed programs such as the Psychological First Aid Hotline. Next is South Korea. Since 2004, the government has released 3 suicide prevention basic plans, including opening suicide prevention center and prohibiting the manufacture and selling of highly radioactive agrochemical. Korea's Psychological Autopsy Center has conducted a pilot study examining suicide victims for 2 years, from 2016 to 2017, in 7 counties. This helped them to find out the characteristics of suicide victims by selecting districts that have unique urban and rural areas. They study about cultural factors including school and family problems. South Korea has also implemented the strategies to prevention suicide. This project established for giving awareness to the public, screening for people at high risk of suicide, and improve the treatment for patients with suicidal depression. One of the strategies introduced to the Korean population about watch, listen, and speak. Third is about England. The cross-government suicide prevention strategy for England was published in 2012.
Every local government district in the country has multi-agency suicide prevention initiative in operation, and the Public Health Service has a national scheme to support suicide prevention. The last one is United States. The National Institute of Mental Health have a strategy that has shown to be effective for people with mental health problems like depression and anxiety. They are linked to suicide. They also provide psychiatric treatment like cognitive behavior therapy and dialectical behavior therapy. Other than that, they use lethal method to overcome the suicide case. The most common way to suicide is by using firearm. The Helpline Center has been working with other counties such as Colorado and New Hampshire to prevent suicide by collaborating with gun store and network owners.
Based on the report, we can witness how alarming and serious suicide trend has evolved through years in certain major and well-developed countries. There are some of the major contributing factors that lead most people to commit such acts. Prevent that those who face depression, financial problem, fail in studies, and toxic relationship problem are most prone to end their life, leading to the rise of suicidal attempt and death rate. Moreover, there are some parties that are receiving the impactful effects from suicide, which is society, family, and law. Hence, it's very clear that this harmful doing not just grab their life eternally, but also affect badly to those around and the responsible authority. Therefore, there are some countries that already taken an action, which is England, South Korea, and Malaysia, on trying to combat this issue. With the help of all parties, especially those who realize suicidal signs of someone, can take a quick action by helping him or her by getting professional help through psychiatrists or to seek solace advice from their loved ones. Suicide can be considered as an evergreen issue as numerous commit this wrongful act each year despite many courses of action being taken out by various parties. We must always realize that suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So, the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. So together we stand still and give our best to hinder this issue from spreading like wildfire by being concerned and caring to each other. That's all from us. Thank you and have a good day.